very successful company and work for yourself. You know.
Sure. Yeah.
Is there anything you wish you could get help while you were working for yourself? And you have to think about while you were working for a place, and maybe you don't have to think about anything else except for what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I would maybe frame the question as a question of maybe one of comparison between big teams and small teams, maybe. And I've had the gift and honor to work with both. And this is the smallest team I've worked with, two-man team. And truly the funnest team. It's a really fascinating experience, actually. I mean, as lead developer and sole developer, I mean, I'm really responsible for everything. And boy, writing code, creating games, ultimately we are creating things in language. We write things in computer language. We're spinning realities, virtual realities out of words. They're strange words. They're opcodes and, function pointers and references and these kinds of things. But they come out of us, they come out of our linguistic abilities. And it's a lot like writing a book, I think. And, I've honestly never had this experience as the sole and lead developer of a product before. It's what I imagine maybe hopefully a best-selling author experiences in the process of creating their magnum opus, their master work. But rather than the work being something that occurs linearly in time, page by page, it's jumping around from page to page, one to the other, and it's all in your head. As an independent developer, it's all in your head, and it's a wonderful experience. Working with a large team, of course, you're dealing with a collaborative work, something that's been created out of the minds of many people. And in the same way that each of us has a unique ability for language, that unique ability for language comes across in programmers, in the works of programmers. So it's a lot like learning how to communicate with a vast number of people on an intimate level when you're working with a large team. And it is its unique challenge. It's uniquely difficult. And uniquely rewarding as well, because you get to know the way that other people think, and you get influenced by their ideas, and you learn. You learn in a way that you really can't as an individual. But likewise, as an individual, a lead and a sole developer, you learn in ways that you can't in a team. I recommend both experiences. I really do. I imagine that many of you are having the latter experience, maybe more of the experience that I'm having now, working with a small team or you're individuals working on your own projects. And perhaps the flip side to total responsibility and control is a deep sense of fear. The fear that you're going to screw it up, because it's really easy for software projects to go wrong. I've seen a lot of software projects go wrong. I've seen them go wrong for a lot of reasons. As individual developers, we think we know a lot more than maybe we actually do. There's great risk, despite our great courage in creating a game as an individual developer. So I do recommend, both experiences. I recommend that you approach whatever you're approaching with great humility. And try to learn from the experience, and try to apply all the best of what you've learned in all of your experiences with big teams and small teams. And I wish you great success and luck.
And I think also reaching out to your friends, maybe it's a problem for you, but for your friends, if they lend a hand, it'll be easy for you.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
So this is a great chance.
This is a great community to share ideas.
Yeah, to reaching out. Okay, now we have Vickie Chen.
Add something to that really quick, and this goes to both your points. Yours about starting young, and yours about, I guess reaching out to your friends. So there's the largest entrepreneur organization in the world is called TIE, and they have an annual conference that I had the privilege of helping with programming of last year. And I ran the TIE Youth track, which is the young entrepreneurs. And my youngest speaker was a game developer and 13 years old.
Wow.
And what I loved about him, and the reason why I flew him out from Ireland to speak, was because he actually got help in terms of who to recruit and how and what to, art styles and everything else through Twitter. Because his parents were really strict. They only let him work on games a certain number of hours a night. So he just basically would speak to, and all these other kids would want to make games like him. They would follow him on Twitter, and he would tweet out his request for whatever he want people to do, and that's how he got his games.
I want that.
So to start young, he started 13. Everyone older haven't made a game yet. You have no excuse.
Okay, now we have Vickie.
Okay, yeah, so I would talk something from the game publisher perspective. So a lot of you are indie developers, right? And just now, Sandra also asked, some of you worked with game publishers. Yeah, so how is the experience working with game publishers?
Can be honest, she doesn't bite. She's the nicer one.
Yeah, there's really not a lot of room for freedom when you're working with a company because they have their own product. You can't really introduce your own ideas because you're making a product for that company. You can't really say, I have an idea, I want to make it.
I see. Yeah, that's very real life experience.
I had a not very good experience, but not a very bad experience also. It was more like I felt that my company produced the game, and the publisher just like vampirized over it. That was what we felt, and I think that the publisher has to be a partner whenever it joins the community developer.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I don't see that so much.
I see.
Did it help your game reach your goal?
Not really. What I noticed, I can't speak for sure because I don't have the data for it, but what I noticed was that they placed my game along the other games that they have, and they cross-promoted them, but there was no user acquisition investment over the game that couldn't have made the game go up. So they just trusted the metrics that they had instead of trusting the game itself and betting someone.
That's
So,
one kind of publishing.
Yes.
Not every publisher is like that.
I hope so.
Yeah, and another question. So are you publishing games globally or just targeting on some certain markets? Globally?
Mine was global.
Okay, I see. Okay, yeah. So I would like to talk something about global publishing and also working with partnership. Yeah. So I personally, as a publisher, I recommend, of course, indie developers find like a local publisher, local partner to work with. But it is very true and important. The key thing to find the right publisher. Yeah, yeah. So I would like to talk from a few perspectives. The first one is localization. Actually, before that, I think the most important thing is to how to find the right publisher, right? Like how to evaluate. Like this is like a right partner. Yeah, I think it's not only about. I know like there are a lot of terms going on right during the negotiation from the very beginning. It may involve license fee, revenue share, marketing resources, right? A lot of things, team resources. I think it's very important that to evaluate from the developer perspective that whether you and the publisher share the same vision, whether they really want to focus on the product itself and how many products that have been published and how many partners they have been working with, right? And maybe check with some of the developers, right? And also their record when they were publishing the previous games, what did they do, right? What kind of like localization work, integrated marketing work they have been done to do that. And also, as I mentioned, whether you two teams share the same vision, right? Whether you want to really the publisher or the developer want to do like a short-term business or long-term business. Actually, yeah, I think that experience is very true. From publisher perspective, for Changyou, we are both developer and publisher. From some perspective, we work with third-party developers. So for some cases, we have the same experience. Yeah, at the very beginning, we really value about the product, good quality, potential, but some of the product may need some adjustment, optimization. But after the deal, we found some of the developers, they didn't really put, much support. Yeah, so I think both sides share the same experience. So I think at the very beginning, it's very important to evaluate, the vision and also the past records, past cases, and also how many resources the other party would really want to put, in that product, I think it's very important, personally I think it's very important to find a local publisher from a few perspectives. First of all, is the localization. So especially the users from Western market and the Eastern market, right? Like user from Asia, some very big countries, big markets like China, Japan, and Korea, right? They also have a lot of detailed differences. For example, localization, the basic thing is language, right? Language and the storyline, also the graphic style, designing, and more importantly, user experience and user interface. Take the Chinese users, for example, they would like all of the buttons on the same user interface, so that is very easy and convenient for them to pick everyone they want, right? They don't want, it's a plain thing, only the gameplay screen at all, right? And also tutorial. Some of the users, take Chinese market for example, they want a lot of auto stuff like auto path, auto quest, finish, something like that. But for the American users, if at the beginning you design your gameplay mainly targeting the American users or based on the American user experience, it's very different. American users want to explore the overall game, right? Overall story themselves. Yeah, they don't want auto stuff. The other side is the other part is about monetization. There are also a lot of difference between those two parts. I think this is also an important reason to work with the local publishers, because as a publisher, I think they are very strong on the marketing side, market side, right? And also they are the frontier edge to work with the end users. They know the users very well. Yeah. So from the operation perspective, they can really share a lot about monetization, especially the Chinese publishers. Yeah. And another thing, work with a local publisher, they really can help the developer to test the market, to gather the user feedback and try to optimize the game itself. Yeah. The third part, I think, working with a local publisher, I worked with a lot of developers, and from their perspective, they really care a lot about marketing, user acquisition. So as a publisher, I think especially for the indie developers, that's a good complementary thing to work with a publisher. They can provide marketing dollars, provide testing opportunities, and also they can do the integrated marketing plan for your product, including PR, including community, social networking. There are also different social networks, right, in different countries. Yeah, and also more important, advertising. So for the advertising part, actually, as an independent developer, if you have marketing dollars, you can also do that, right? It's very transparent, very open, like every vendor you can work with. But the more important part is data analysis and daily optimization. So as a publisher, most of them, I believe that they have specialty. They have special people, media manager, data mining people. They work like 8 to like 12 hours a day, right, to analyze the real-time data and do optimization. As you know, the digital marketing, online advertising, the effect is dropping very fast, right? So they have a specialized team to design different creatives, different marketing campaigns. Yeah, I think that's a really key thing to work with the developer. Yeah. And the last point, the fourth point I would like to talk about is different channels, uniqueness of the channels in different markets. Take the American market, for example, is very open platform, iOS, Android, Amazon, right? Yeah, but for Chinese, for example, Chinese market is very complicated. Yeah, they don't have Google Play, right, in the Chinese market, but a few very powerful, dominant channel there. So you have to work with them, but they have different practices, different policies. So it would be better for the local publisher work with them who have already built very good relationship, very good and more experience. Yeah, work with those very different channels. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's most of the points I would like to talk about to work with a local publisher. But to answer your question, also the disadvantages, right? Working with publisher, I think, yeah, it is really important to evaluate that. I think another point how to evaluate a real potential partner is you may not only see how big that company is, whether it's a big brand, how much marketing dollar, how many money they have, right? But through communication, rounds of communication, talking the details of projects, like a project plan, right, creative, marketing plan, marketing campaign, what's their strategy, right, to promote, to localize the product itself. I mean, through those rounds of communication, you may have a better sense, whether they really want to put their resources, their energy, their attention to this product. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So although some of you guys has some bad experience with publishing, but in today's world, I think it's quite important to find a very good publisher. Why? Because there are over a million apps in App Store, over a million apps in Google Play. How are you going to get your game discovered, played by other people? You don't want to just make a toy and play by yourself, play by your friends and your kids, right? You want it to be played by thousands of millions of people. Then you need a publisher, and then you need to find a good publisher. And of course, if you meet with Larry or Vincent, and then they give you the money, you have the marketing dollar. Okay, now Larry.
Well, thank you. I think everybody's hungry, so I will be short. Hopefully. So, first of all, it's an honor to be here. Basically, I'm the investor of Novelist. This is an awesome company. Just be straightforward, right? So, basically, we started this angel fund called Z-Park Venture a year and a half ago. Before that, I also did investment for another fund. So totally, we have working on the investment for 4 years. From the very beginning, I met the team, the Novelist team, Tony and Jay. And since then, I have met about over 1,000 teams, hundreds of game companies. This is the team that I like the most. Like any startups, they have ups and downs. And during the worst time, they were in the basement of an incubator. They were running out of money, running out of people. But at the same time, they were still looking at the data, see what the user wants. What can we do to make the game better? So that's how they impressed me. And that's why I invest in this company. So now, I'm the supporter, but as a fund, all the partners are friends. So most of the partners in my fund are executives from Yahoo, Google, Tencent, and Facebook. So all the partners are my friends. We are supporting these companies. And they are publishing games from China to US, but they are also doing that from US to China. So we have all the people supporting them. And we are very proud to be that. Just to be brief about the fund, Z-Park Venture is a fund that funded a year and a half ago. Since then, we have invested over 24 companies. So we are investing almost every month. So we are investing 1 or 2 companies every month. We are just not talking. So we do learn from entrepreneurs. At the same time, we are doing free tutoring actually for the entrepreneurs, because most of the companies who come here, come to us, we do not invest, but we do provide a lot of feedback. We do provide values to them. So I want them to have a good experience with us. When they come to us, they always gain something. And so that's why we don't want to just learn from them. I also want them to learn from us. Just be quick on how we invest. So when we look at the people, look at the team, mostly we look at the people. How? We don't know much about gaming, we don't know much about technology, although personally I'm a technician. But as a VC, as an investor, normally you know everything a little. Basically, we look at the people. Are you the winners? Because if you're winner or losers, most of the time it shows. It's not because you're rich or poor, because it shows how you deal with problems. Right? So you are entrepreneurs, you are here to resolve a problem. You're not here to complain, you're not here to afraid of a lot of things. You come here to resolve problems. So when you come to us, it's very obvious. Are you a problem solver or complainer, or just look for money? So basically that shows very obviously. So when you go, basically try to think about how you can resolve a problem. And when you have a right mindset, actually that turns you to be a more successful person. Whenever you have a problem, just try to think how to resolve it. Not when you think about a goal, always think about how many problems I have that I cannot resolve. When you think that way, it shows on your face. So that's number 1. Number 2 is just be social, go out, because people are valuable, your friends are valuable. Just when you treat people as they are valuable people, they become valuable to you. Because when you go out, you think you're on your own, you're alone, you become a lonely person. So you go out, be social, treat everybody as a resource, eventually they will help you one way or the other. So that's my experience with my investment. Just that's all I can say. Okay, thank you.
Now we have Vincent, a star investor as well.
Okay, for those people who need more money, give me applause.
Are you giving to everyone?
Yeah, later. Right? Sure,
Give us
later.
first and then speak.
Okay, later. Right? Okay, so I guess Tony intentionally leave the money guy at last, right? This is very important. I guess most people here is developer, right? Is there any developers? Please raise your hands. Let me take a look. Okay, the publishers. Okay, a couple of them, and the media. The media. Okay, good. Which is important to let people know this is very. Investors. Any investors here? Okay, investors. Okay, we can invest together, right? That's what we're here.
Already investing.
Already invested. Just let you know, we invested 2 companies with Larry's Z-Park and our Blue Angels. Again, my name is Vincent Ma. I'm an angel investor, but I'm different from normal angel investor because I invest internationally. I travel in China and Asia, and also US in the past about 5 years. And I remember I met Tony about 2.5 years ago in Beijing. Evening, and it's cold,
11
freezing.
o'clock p.m. and we were talking about business.
Cold weather in Beijing. So, I mean, today I think Novelist's team is growing fast, but 2.5 years ago, really, that's a typical typical, I think, startup in China and also in the US. So it's not easy, and I'm an entrepreneur, and today I'm still an entrepreneur even though I'm an angel investor. So I work like most of developers here, 10 to 15 hours a day, every day in the past 10 years. So it's not easy, but that's our dream, right? You pick this dream, you work on it, and make sure that your dream can be realized sooner or later. So as an angel investor, what I tell you the truth, no matter whether I invest in you or not. In the past about 1.5 years, I invested about 10 companies, 6 companies in game. In China, about 5 companies already. And there's a CP, can be the content provider, which is in Shenzhen. Anybody know Shenzhen? Where is it? Okay, so that's good. And Changyou, everybody know Changyou. I know Shelley comes from Changyou. Okay, Changyou is I think the one hub, one centralized city in China for 600 studios. In
600 studios.
600
Wow.
studios.
Only I thought I heard 5,000.
5,000, that's the China. That's China. Actually, that's a good question. Do you know how many studios here in the US? Anybody knows? Okay, but in China, you guys already know how many studios we have? 5,000, yes. Actually, close to 6,000 studios. So there's a lot of studios in China right now in the past 2 years. And some of them will booming, some of them will be dying in this year. Okay, I'll tell you later on. But let me tell you how we typically, like Larry said, how do we invest? I'm a fast learner. For the mobile game, I just learned in the past 1.5 years. For us, as Larry mentioned, as an investor, you have to learn things very fast because we need to spend our money to something which is we may not know. So we have to know, just basically know through you and through your team as fast as we can, so we know that we can control the risk. Because if we invest by mistake, the money will not come back, and you will not find me here 3 years later. So which means 3 years later, if you still see me here, which means we make a good decision. If you see Larry here 5 years, which means Larry make more money, right? So that's simple. So that's one way or another is when we look at the invest in the game. Game industry is totally different from other internet companies. We talk about when people ask me what I'm investing, which area, I tell them TMT. You guys know TMT? Industries, technology, media, and telecom. So people ask me where I put the game in. So I think I put the game into the media, I think, right? That's pretty much the way. But the game is totally from, I think in China and the US is totally different because people coming down here have to understand how the whole industry works. You have developer, you have the media, you have channel, you have a service provider, you have analytics providers, so on and so forth. So it's totally different. And I tell most of angel investors in China or in the US, I said that there's deep water in gaming industry. You have to prepare, come to this industry for 5 to 10 years before you can. You have to kind of like the time span. You really can come in to make money. Otherwise, you're coming down to invest money. No, you cannot make easy money in the game industry because there's so many choices. I mean, think about it, 6,000 game industries. Which one you pick? You pick one. It's not easy, right? So, and I also learned that if you just invest in one company, this one product is good, but may not be the next one. So it's like a movie industry. I mean, so it's very challenging for the investors like ours to say how we can make sure this studio will make at least 2 out of 10 products good enough. I mean, one product is not enough, right? We need to make 20% of your portfolio, your products can be sold as very well, so we can invest. So we'll look at when the students comes to me say, okay, I need money. Let's say I'll give you example, actual example in China, and I'll give you another one in the US. We just met 2 days ago. I'll give you the China first. They need 2 million RMB. Valuation is 10 million RMB. And this company, the teams comes out from Tencent. Anybody knows Tencent? Okay, largest game
Largest internet company
in China.
$130 billion market cap.
Yes, exactly. So they're booming, but when the people tell me they comes from Tencent, I said, okay, so what? I mean, there's 10,000 people working at Tencent, right? So what we're looking at is show me what you did before in the past 5 years. Especially you talk about mobile games, show me what you did for the other three games. So for example, if you come to me right now and say, Vincent, I need $500,000, okay, what you did within the past 5 years. So we need to look at the game you developed, and we need to see what roles you are in there. You're leading the role, or you're just a follower. If you're leading role, we're willing to pay bet money on the team. If you're not really a leading role, so we are thinking, we need to ask other people in the circle to say how good this guy is. I mean, that's we will operate. We need to make sure the team is very skillful, experienced before we invest in this team. Otherwise, it's very hard. Just like Sana said, it will take you 25 months before you get the money. If you want to get money today from someone like me and Larry, you need to show what you did before, because it's very hard just to give you a very beautiful PowerPoint slide. Say, hey, show me. Someone made $1 million. $1 million ready, and if you invested today $500,000, you will make another $1 million within 3 years. That's not a professional investor doing. And in China, some people will go to the other rich guys, but those guys make money from gold mining, right? We call the what I call local riches, or what I call and so miners, we call minor riches. But it's easy to get their money at first, but after 1 or 2 years, those people say, okay, no way, don't cheat me again. So it's not easy to get money either in China or in the US. You need to talk to professionals. And those professionals like ours will help you. The reason why very simple, when we invest in the CP developers, also at the same time we invest in the channel. For example, I already invested in one media company in China to help those developers to promote their games, which is we build up, like Novelist trying to say, the gaming ecosystem. As investors in gaming industry, they need to also try to build up this ecosystem to help the portfolio company. So when you look at the angel investors or VCs, you need to know what they're being investing. Is there any companies in the gaming industry can help you? Because if not helping you, which means the value is not good enough. Okay, one company we invest in China is a CP. Again, R&D company. But we also, at the same time, we invest in another channel company. That channel company guaranteed when this new game developed by this team come out, they will guarantee to promote this game right away. So which means no matter what, the cost, let's say $500,000 will get back from this channel. Make sense? If we just invest in developer, which means the game come out, we have no control on the publishing side. So when this professional investor will think about, they'll try to build up the ecosystem. If you just go to unprofessional investors, which just have money, they cannot really help you too much. You have to on your own, which is you will maybe fail faster than you think. Okay. So another challenge for you guys right now is because since I'm doing cross-border investing, so I'm trying to invest the companies in the U.S. and also why I invested here, why not in China? All right. You asked me the question. The reason why very simple is that we have great talents here in the U.S. Innovative, creative, which is Asia's, especially Chinese. We don't have that, that kind of the creativity. Yes.
How about Brazil?
I haven't really looked at the Brazil yet, but I think that's a good market to go to. So for the U.S., we invest here. We need to have their talents, the creativity, which we don't in China. In China, what we have is we have a huge market. This is the largest game market in the world already. And also at the same time, there's 6,000. Remember, 6,000 studios, no matter it's big or small, that are coming out. And I think China is becoming the largest game exporter worldwide, no matter you want or not. Okay, so this game comes out worldwide to Middle East, to South America, to Europe, and to North America too. But China will not be able to really challenge those big studios like Ubisoft, because the reason why, as I said, creativity. China doesn't really have it today. Maybe 10 years later, maybe 20 years later, we don't know, until the education system change through the small kids. So I think there's a little, what I call is gear between China and US or Europe is creativity plus the talents in China, which is the engineering talents. They can help you to programming, to do graphic designing, but not the conceptual side. So that's where we invest the company here in the US. We'll say, okay, want you to work with another support team in China to make your game better and more attractive worldwide. So it's become, what I'm saying is you try not just to be here. You need to, digital products you can put online. It's worldwide access. Why not just to do, in the US and just to do sell you to US? When I'm investing in China, I said that is your game can be exported to outside of China. They said that I never thought about it. I said, think about right now. When you make that, your products can be exported to outside China, I will invest because that's what I want. You can sell, 10 million in the US, in China, and we can get another 10 million outside China. So still the same thing here in the US when I'm looking at the game developers, I think whether your game can be exported to Asia and also South America, and especially to China, because once your products is ready, I can take that. If this is good, I have a flavor on it, then I will say, okay, let me send to China right away. As I'm speaking to you, they will do a test to say, hey, this is a good product. Actually, there's one product already in the U.S. we're already trying to bring to China to our the channel to help them to publish.